We've talked about now what the hierarchy means to the end user, why the end user goes to a hierarchy. They're looking for the proper names of things. They're looking to plow through lots and lots of information with a very few clicks. And finally, they're looking to figure out what's in here. What are the terms of discussion? Now let's look at it from the standpoint of the manager. Hierarchies are also very useful and very significant to information managers. Those are the people who aren't there because they have an information need. They're there to organize the information base, make sure it's okay so that the end users can meet their needs. They're really more like you are, right? Your function here is much more of an information manager, or I've called you an information architect in other contexts, than an end user, than a person who's consuming the information to meet an information need. So what is it that you, the manager, need to get out of the information base, and how do hierarchies help you? Well, the first and biggest thing they do for you is they give you a proper place for everything. And this is another way to look at hierarchies. A hierarchy is like a set of drawers that have neat divisions inside the drawers, and those drawers are in cabinets, and the cabinets are all stacked together. They're like the filing system that we all wish we had. But think about the way that you organize your own space, and you'll see that it also is hierarchical. It has containers. Inside those containers are subcontainers. Inside the subcontainers are finally the things that you organize. So your bedroom, for example, will have a closet. The closet is the place where all of your hangable items go, and then the hangable items are arranged in some sort of sequence. Or maybe you have some of those hangers that have hangers inside of hangers, or maybe in your closet you have bags that further contain certain items. That closet is also as opposed to a set of drawers, and the drawers can contain different items. So the organization of our lives, the organization of our physical things, is also quite hierarchical. We organize them in containers inside of containers, and we have levels. And so we know if we want any clothing, go to the bedroom, right? That's a hierarchical arrangement as well. The bedroom itself is enclosed in a container. Your dwelling itself is a container that encloses the bedroom as well as other things. So the manager feels much more comfortable when everything is in its right place, when everything is well organized. And that feeling of it's well organized, nothing gives it to you like a hierarchy. Nothing gives you that feeling like everything's taken care of, everything's in its right place. We talked at another point about the early way that the web was organized, and how information managers would collect up all the items of information by the department that they were part of. And that department would give them the feeling like they've got it all accounted for. Now, and so obviously that wasn't the way that end users search for information. End users like to search for it by task or by who they are or by other qualities. But for the manager, having that organizational structure that mirrors the organizational structure of their company, of their organization, and of course that as well is a hierarchy, right? An org chart of their organization with departments and departments and departments and departments. Another example of a hierarchy. Having things all organized by that department structure, by that org chart, gave them a feeling of security, that everything was in its rightful place and it's going to be hard to lose stuff. Right? When your hard drive is organized, I'm sure that it's the same way. You have folders inside of folders inside of folders. Yet another hierarchy, the folder structure on your hard drive. And when you feel like things are well organized, when everything's got into its right folder. Your email system also has a folder structure, and you organize information by folder structure. Interestingly, you can go through example after example after example after example of things that use a hierarchical method for organization. Now look at your iPod. Your iPod was a radical departure for that. Your iPod does not fundamentally organize things hierarchically. So when I first got an iPod, I was really baffled, because I kept looking for the place where I would create folders, and I would create one folder that had all this genre of music in it, and in that folder I would put all the artists of that genre, and in that folder I would put all the albums or all the works by that person, and in the works I would put all the songs. But it doesn't work that way. An iPod is fundamentally indexical. It's not fundamentally hierarchical. It's fundamentally a set of flat lists, and sometimes we embed those flat lists inside other flat lists to create sort of a hierarchy, but really the way we organize things on an iPod is by individual indexed characteristics, by artist, for example, right? By song title, right? Those are the ways we organize things, even by genre. Things are organized not into folders and folders. The genre doesn't organize the works which organize the songs. The genre organizes the songs. So each song carries an index. So that's an aside. That iPod really has broken one of the major kind of, I guess, one of the major paradigms of organization, which is things are organized when they're in a hierarchy. So for the manager, that's very important. Things are organized when they're in a hierarchy. You can easily see gaps. As you flip through all of these folders, as you flip through all of these nodes on the hierarchies, you flip through all of these levels of the outline, you all of a sudden come to one that has nothing in it. That's an easy indication that there's something wrong, that you're missing some piece of the information space, because you created this hierarchy and some of the elements, some of the nodes in that hierarchy are missing items. That's a clear indication that something's going wrong. So very important to the manager. And of course the manager uses that same idea of very few clicks to get to very many items. And for the manager, this is really important. And also, truthfully, for people who know an information base well, this becomes really important. Because when you know an information base well, that means to a large extent, and this is another thing to think about hierarchies, to a large extent, when you feel like you know an information base well, it's because you know the hierarchy. You can traverse that hierarchy confidently and know that certain things will be listed in certain categories. And so that gives you the feeling of mastery, because you're a master not of every item, but of the categorization of the items, and you know you can find your way to any piece of information when you need it. Okay, so if you're getting the idea that hierarchies are incredibly important and foundational and fundamental, you're on the right track. There's this idea of prescriptive and descriptive that I've covered elsewhere, so I won't cover the idea again, but I will say that hierarchies tend to be on the prescriptive side. As I said, they give us the proper names, not the name I know it by, but the name that the person who created this information base wants me to know it by. It's a descriptive system. It's well, I wouldn't say fundamentally. It tends towards the descriptive. We don't usually make hierarchies that are in the end user lingo. We usually have the hierarchy be in the expert lingo, and the person who really knows what's going on in this information base's lingo. Hierarchies, as I said, are amazing at organizing a lot of information. The problem is if you take a wrong turn in the hierarchy, you may get completely lost. So finally, well, I guess actually that is finally. If you take a wrong turn in the hierarchy, you're completely lost. On the other hand, if you navigate that hierarchy successfully, it's an incredibly fast and effective tool at getting you to a tremendous amount of information.